And so I'd like to talk just briefly about the so-called Inflation Reduction Act. I'm now calling it the Inflation Act because over the last, it was rushed, it was partisan, and it promised all kinds of benefits to states such as mine of West Virginia, when in reality we see now as it's unfolding that the Democrats, have been sold really a bill of goods. We were told originally it would invest $300 billion in deficit reduction and $369 billion in energy security and climate change over 10 years. But now CBO is saying that the Inflation Act will not even, it adds $60 billion to the debt in the first 5 years and won't even see any kind of deficit reduction until 2029. This is also in addition to the enhanced power of the IRS that Senator Thune talked about it, and seeing how that's going to unfold, because apparently that's supposed to pay for everything in the Inflation Act. But if we look at independent observers of this bill, Goldman Sachs estimated that the law's climate spending costs $1.2 trillion over the next decade, which is 3 times as much as CBO scored it for last summer. The Brookings study estimates that carbon capture tax credits will cost $210 by the year 2040, which is another $167 billion more than was predicted last summer by CBO. Brookings also projects that the law's climate provisions could cost up to $1 trillion through 2031. And lastly, the Credit Suisse report last year estimated that a special tax credit to boost U.S. solar, wind, and battery supply chains would cost about $250 billion. That projection now is 8 times more than what CBO projected. This is filled with spending, filled with unmatched deficits, the Inflation Act, and I think it's going to lead to all of the problems we've seen with more problems with inflation, hurting energy costs, hurting the average American citizen, and you pile on that everybody's going to be buying an EV for how much ever more. I think the American public are waking up and they see what kind of damage has.
Good evening, friends. Happy Mother's Day to all of you. So shocking new information has been released by our federal government. If the United States fails to reach an agreement by the end of this month, a recession will begin, and it would encompass the global economy, including sharp job losses, monthly benefit checks on hold, and soaring mortgage rates. But GOP lawmakers say they have a plan that would prevent monthly beneficiaries from seeing a drastic change to their benefits. My dearest friends, please do me a favor and watch until the end of this video for all of the new details. Also, to say thank you for being here and for being part of this community, I will be announcing more winners for the $75 Walmart gift card this coming Friday. Please make sure you enter the weekly giveaways by clicking and liking several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. My dearest friends, the more videos that you comment on, the greater your chances, friends, of winning the giveaways. Federal workers furloughed, Social Security checks for seniors on hold, soaring mortgage rates, a global financial system sent reeling. These are all outcomes of a debt default in the United States. If Congress and the White House fail to forge an agreement to lift the federal debt ceiling, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has said the agency may only be able to sustain operations until June 1st, before running out of money if the government cannot borrow more. That specific deadline, also known as the X date, depends on tax revenue and spending, which can fluctuate dramatically from week to week. The impacts of default would likely include many things. A pause in federal payments would greatly hurt the economy, which would hurt the stock market, which would in turn also hurt the economy even more, and so on and so on. The interactions between collapsing home values, rising interest rates, and a destabilized global financial system are very hard to calculate. Some suggest that more than 8 million U.S. jobs could be wiped out. Mortgage rates might soar by more than 20%, and the U.S. economy would contract by as much as it did during the 2008 Great Recession. But what economists stress above all else is the unpredictability, especially if the breach lasts months for weeks or months. A drop in household wealth across the country would reduce consumer spending, which would hurt thousands of businesses. A spike in interest rates would make it much harder to get a loan or start a small business. That could also crash the already cooling housing market. The most drastic impact might be a pause in regular federal payments to tens of millions of American families, including seniors on Medicare and Social Security, and people relying on food stamps. The federal government is projected to spend roughly $6 trillion this year, which translates into roughly $16 billion per day. Not all of that goes directly to households, of course, but it's a huge amount of money to vanish from the economy overnight. A 2013 report by the U.S. Treasury Department found that 2011 debt ceiling standoff caused a $2.4 trillion decline in total household wealth. The broader economy could contract by as much as 6%. Some Republicans have claimed that the federal government can continue making Social Security and other monthly benefit payments without borrowing by redirecting incoming tax revenue. But budget experts are skeptical that the Treasury Department will have the ability to send seniors these benefits on time. So, dear friends, what are your thoughts about the U.S. economy? Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. But Democratic Senator Joe Manchin is becoming a bigger problem for President Biden and Democrats in the Senate as he faces an uphill re-election battle in West Virginia. It is a state where the former president won one of his biggest victories in 2020. Senator Manchin has criticized Biden and Democrats publicly, opposed various nominees, and this week, he said he would oppose every one of the president's nominations to the Environmental Protection Agency. Joe Manchin accused his Environmental Protection Agency nominees of pursuing an extreme ideology and panned the administration's plan to limit greenhouse pollution from existing power plants. Senate Democrat Tom Carper told The Hill he was hoping to talk with Manchin about his opposition to convince him that he may want to rethink that position and to find favor with some of the nominees. The White House noted this week that the Biden administration has been able to move forward on historic pieces of legislation with Senator Manchin, citing the Inflation Reduction Act and the infrastructure law. But Senator Manchin has long been an obstacle in Biden's way. He was indeed a major player in getting the Inflation Reduction Act passed last year. But the final version he negotiated with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer was smaller than the Democrats' original vision. According to a new survey taken last month, Senator Joe Manchin has the lowest approval rating of any Senate Democrat. Dear friends, what are your thoughts about what's going on in our government? Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. Well, my awesome and most amazing friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this evening. Thank you, dear friends, for joining me here and for being part of this community. To say thank you and to show my appreciation, I will be announcing several winners this coming Friday for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you'd like to enter the weekly giveaway, friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, dear friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed Mother's Day.